Hi, Johnny. This is Dr. Jester. I needed to go over your Radical Islam paper. It's written very well. There are some great things that you've included here. You've followed all the aspects of the assignment. You've identified the Muslim Brotherhood. You've discussed some of their agenda and ideological principles. You've gone over their impact and how Muslims at large would view that. The document is written very well, but we have some problems. Let's talk about the problems. If you see this particular circle right here, this is where I've circled something on your Lopes Wright report. I did a print screen, snapped a shot of it, threw it in the document. Here's what the actual Lopes Wright report is going to look like. So here's what we've got. It says there's a 17% similarity score. That needs to always be 20 or less. The quoted text percentage is the problem here. First problem, I should say. So quoted text, that also needs to never be above 20%. When you have a high quotation percentage, that means that basically a third of your document is not in your own words. You're quoting the words of others. You're inserting them in there. You're relying too much, in other words, on the source to make your argument. And that becomes a problem because this needs to be original to you. These need to be your words. You can certainly quote, but when you do so excessively, that means you're letting the source make your argument, and you can't do that. I usually always give a warning when that is over 20%. I try to make mention of that. I do require, unfortunately, and this is a GCU issue, I do have to ask you to revise that if it gets over 30%. Yours is at 34%. I was going to send you a warning. However, we've got some other serious problems here. If you notice everything that's underlined, Lopes Wright is identifying this as from a source, a direct quote from a source that hasn't been properly cited. It is showing it is from Wikipedia. So I'm highlighting there. It takes you automatically to that place and location. Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, I'm logged out. Wouldn't you know it? So let me bring that back up. I love it when that happens. So let's just go back in here and view that. So anyway, so the problem here is that when you have quotations that are not properly cited, then that leads to the issue where you could be accused of plagiarizing. Now, this is Wikipedia. You cannot, under any circumstances, use Wikipedia for an academic paper. So don't even go look at it, even if you want to get some ideas. You can't look at Wikipedia. It's not peer-reviewed. It does not qualify. Second of all, if you cite a source, you always have to have that source in quotation marks and properly cited. In fact, if you look at this entire paragraph, so you've got uncited sources underlined in blue. The rest of this is almost completely cited. So very little of this, maybe one or two sentences of this entire paragraph is in your words. The rest of it is in source words. So that's unacceptable. And I did need to highlight that for you. Here's some other places. We've got this. Again, it's saying Wikipedia. And this also comes from Wikipedia. And just give you an example here. Let's just look at that. So you've got the original source and you've got your source. Basically the same thing. And, we just really cannot accept that. So I need you to tell me how this happened, why you consulted Wikipedia, why you didn't cite it. But then I'm going to give you the opportunity to revise this. So I'm going to let you do that. The issue is that cannot happen on any other papers. You're going to have to make sure you cite correctly, not cite too much, summarize your sources more instead of doing all that quotation. Now, I wanted to show you a few other things that need to be addressed in your paper. For example, I have highlighted all of these Footnote numbers, you've got those incorrect. Footnote numbers do not come before the period. As a matter of fact, the sequence is the last word in the sentence, and then you're going to have the period, then you're going to have the quotation mark, then you have the footnote. That's the sequence of it. Also, here, Turabian is very specific on this. When you cite a source, such as Mr. Harmon here, that's in footnote number 1. If the next footnote is from the same source, then you use IBID with the page number. None of these had page numbers. So make sure you include the page number where you have the quote from. So anytime you're subsequently citing from the same source in the next footnote, you always use IBID. I've highlighted in red all those places where you don't have proper quotes. Then going on down, you go back and revisit one of your sources here. When you revisit a source, you do the last name of the source, you do a shortened form of the title, and the page number. You don't include the same information you replied in this case, you don't use the same information you had in footnote number 1. So you just go back and do the shortened form. So revise, so summarize these sources. Do not try to quote, get that under 20%. Make sure any borrowed words are cited properly. Do not use Wikipedia. Make the corrections that need to be made, and you should be good to go. I'm going to give you a week to submit this, and hopefully